Hi everyone, Trina Phoenix here, and this is 4.7, and we just got done talking about the Gnostic theology and how their belief of creation was, and how the God of this world came into being through the birthing of through Sophia, and how Sophia was able through the God Yaldabaoth to bring forth her divine spark and animate us with that spark, and that was our gift. Was she had the God breathe into the nostrils of Adam, which created the divine spark, our ability to reconnect with source, our ability to remember what we are. That was returned to us because it was not present. So that was a gift from Sophia to us, so we could find our way back to the Christed children that we are. And it's it was saying Sophia, the daughter, manages to inject the light into this material creation. Thus, the divine spark is embedded into our souls, giving each of us the power to remember who we really are and redeem the darkness from the worlds of form. This is the true redemption. It's when you awaken to all of what you are and you marry it, it like cancels it out. It forgives it. And this is, I think, the closer meaning to what is forgiveness. It's alchemy. It's true alchemy. And this alchemy happens within your body. And it's by how you feel and think. The bells. I'll let them ring. The number 2. Divine balance, masculine and feminine. That's so funny. So, Yaldabaoth becoming arrogant in spirit, boasted himself over all of those who were below him, and he explained, I am Father and God, and above me there is no one. This is the jealous God that we hear about in the Bible. His mother, hearing him speak this, cried out against him. Do not lie, Yaldabaoth, for the Father of the all, the primal Anthropos, is above you. And so is Anthropos, the son of Anthropos. Anthropos is the name for the perfected one beyond gender, the marriage. Both. Thus, Gnostic theology taught that our creation can only be redeemed by the spirit of the pure, unembellished Son who comes to save his sister, restoring the balance to the world through this sacred union. We hear the echoes of this theme in many stories of Jesus rescuing Mary Magdalene, who played the role of a fallen daughter. We also see it in the fairy tales, the prince rescuing the princess, a subject that we shall address shortly. But in far more ancient times, when the roles between men and women were in balance, there were also stories of the princess rescuing the prince and the goddess who would redeem the gods through the wisdom of the female. So, the story of Sophia's descent is so beautiful, and it shows it's the fall of wisdom. It's the fall of us into amnesia, into a place where we had no remembering of what we truly are. And I think that's why the human door, I think, is the only true door to get out of the construct, is because if you can find your way when you're in form and know that you are not of that form or in that form, you're experiencing in it. But when you truly understand that you're more than matter or the material worlds, I think that's all that's kind of needed for you to have different options other than reincarnation on this third dimensional feeding chain. So with that, this is how it's done, is remembering what you come from. And that's a balanced masculine feminine aspect of man. And man is the image of the Creator as form. It's an image, and that image is Anthropos, which is the male-female dual template of man. So I've always seen that the man template was the body, and the body is like the macro or the micro of the macro, and that how our body can do all these wonderful, brilliant things that you just have no awareness of, that are happening within you all the time. This is that power of God within you, because you actually can affect it, and you can affect what happens to these particles and bacteria and funguses and all these things that make up you as a living bioorganic being. You can affect all of these things with the mind, and through the power of the wisdom to know how to apply it through the soul, the feminine part of you, you instruct it to become manifest. So it's like the masculine part of you is giving you the inspiration, the thought, the desire, saying, let's bring this forth. And then the feminine part of you captures that and sees how to do it and makes it manifest through will and the feeling of knowing how it works. And it's like I said, it's the emotion and the logic working together as one system. The internal system working with the higher God mind, which the internal system, the subtle energy system, is what captures that divine mind. That's what they say, be still and know that I am. God speaks real quiet in a real subtle language because it's quantum. The potential's there, but you got to get a hold of it. And you got to focus on it. You got to be able to see it, because nothing comes into existence unless we can see it. Apparently that's how it works here. And that's why there's so much symbology about the eye, because without the vision, it won't manifest. If we don't see it, if we don't focus our attention on it, it does not exist. It's in a 0 point between two options all the time until we see it. And that does seem to be very true. So the Gnostic Gospels of Mary Magdalene. In the Gnostic Gospels of Mary Magdalene, Mary speaks about the light within us all and our journey to recover it. At the center of her teachings is the heart and the importance of reclaiming the Mother Spirit to restore balance in the world. The Divine Mother is light, and she is darkness. She is the saint as well as the sinner. Angels and demons are her images, as are the gods and all of the archons. Yet she is beyond all of these. Know her in all things, and you will be free of bondage, even as the anointed are free. Mary goes on to talk about how the nature of Sophia encompasses all polarities within herself, a tenet of the goddess path. Eve and Lilith are one, and that is exactly what I see, and I see the same thing with Lucifer. I see both, and I see that with the Lord. I see both. It can be both. We can be both. We are the I Ching. We have the dark and the light. We have both, and you can choose whichever reality you're going to jump into. You have free will to do that. So I have seen this over and over again. And then I've also seen like a table of masters, and I was like so impressed to be in the presence of them, and they all bowed their heads down and they lifted up their hoods and they all turned into me. And it was just like simply saying, don't worship or give your power to any of us. Yeah, we're ascended masters, but you forgot who you are. You're us. We're you. I was like floored. But this is what keeps coming over and over and over again. It's like we got to remember what we are. We got to remember that we literally are children of the Creator, and as that we create. And we're creating all of this, and we can shift it together. We really can. We can see something different. So, Mary goes on to talk about how the nature, even Lilith, our one woman, she is a supernatural, supernal emanation. If a woman knows herself, she will know the holy woman. Just as if a man knows himself, he will know the supernal Adam. To acquire this knowledge, you must be single, which is to say, undivided. What? To acquire this knowledge, you must be single, which is to say, undivided. About the Black Madonna, or the Hidden Mother, Miriam says, Kali appears black to those who do not know her. Yet to those who love her and draw her near, she is white brilliance. Her image is as the starry night, and the light of heavens and the supernal abode are in her. To pass beyond, you must enter her embrace. Even as the Lord embraced her. Then through daughter Sophia, you will acquire knowledge of Mother Sophia, the Queen of Heaven. Mary also tells us, until you know the darkness of Sophia, you will not acquire her light. Unless you die and are reborn of the Mother Spirit, the knowledge of the resurrection will elude you. These are powerful teachings, for they teach us to reach beyond polarity and realize that even though we see duality all around us, there is a single unifying presence that oversees all cycles in the constant dance of the mortal and the eternal. Sophia and the second coming of Christ. Oh, I can't wait to see what she's got to say about this, because I wonder if it matches what I saw, because I saw we are Christ over and over and over again, and we came here to be Christ. So, the Gnostics believed that the soul of Mary Magdalene has remained within us for at least 2,000 years. Yes. She has continued to work for the redemption of humanity, incarnating again and again. This is why she was known as she of 10,000 names and 10,000 faces. Another name for Isis, the one behind the many. We must embrace her, return for the second coming to occur. The reception of this divine presence in the world is what triggers the wave of the coming Christ. A disciple asked Mary, "When will the second coming occur?" Mary said, "It can happen at any time, anywhere, when you least expect it. It is the mystery of the perfect aeon, known only to the living Father, which he will reveal in Mother in due season. Therefore, be ready and live without regrets, so that when it transpires, you will remain among the living." The Logos emanated into the world for the redemption of Sophia. If the redemption of Sophia is not received in the world, then the world is not redeemed. Sophia received the Logos. To those who cleave to Sophia have to receive the Logos, and they are redeemed. It is Sophia in you that receives the Logos and is saved, and that is the Christ. You receive the Christ by awakening it within you. You activate it, you understand how to do that, which is literally being balanced in your mind and feeling. Knowing feeling is the prayer. So what you're feeling about, you're bringing about. So you become a conscious creator. Instead of just letting your emotions and your programs run you, you start to be still and say, okay, I'm not feeling good right now. I'm feeling anxious. I'm having bad thoughts run through my head. And you shift it consciously and you ground and you balance and you start to have positive thoughts. And you literally work on this all the time until you're spending more time in a balanced state. And we are creatures of habit. So these things can be done through patterns. You keep doing them over and over and over. And then it becomes more second nature and it becomes much easier to stay balanced. But you know, we'll always get triggers. That's normal. It happens. But you know, you're way better off when you start getting a hold of your emotions and starting to identify what in this reality is triggering you and why. So it's very helpful information. Okay, a wave. Okay, so disciples are kind of. Yep. It will come at any time, and you must receive the logos. Logos to me is the sun, the literal solar logos, which is to me, it's information. Through that information and through that light, you become activated. And that's what I've seen as what logos was to mean for me. And it also is attached to the word. So it's connecting to the word of what you speak and what you do. Like the words that come out of your mouth that's logos. So, yeah, that's some of the things that I was shown. Logos is very attached to words and, yeah, the sun and the solar plexus and the sun in our sky and the grand solar sun beyond that. So that was what I've seen. At the time when Mary lived, there was a story about a woman who was overjoyed that Mary's teachings were being received. The woman explained, "Now is the hour of the holy bride." But Mary answered, saying, "No, before the bride is received, she must be rejected. And before the second coming, there must come a great darkness. Until the second coming of Christ, the wisdom of God shall not be received. When the bride is revealed, know the second coming is near." Emphasis, mine. If these prophecies are true, then Christ consciousness cannot come until the reinstatement of the divine feminine is present in the world. It will be this balance that will bring about the full world awakening. Understanding these celestial principles, Mary also taught God the Father entered in through the image of the Son, but the world was overwhelmed by the great supernal glory. Ooh, interesting. Overwhelmed by the great supernal glory. Therefore, the Son imparted to the Mother Spirit, and God, the Mother, has entered in through the image of the daughter to nurture the little ones until they grow wise. The light entered, but it was too bright. And so now the fire comes to purify, so that all might be sanctified to receive the true light. Everything shall be accomplished in due season. And it is the Mother Spirit which will accomplish everything. It is the Mother Spirit that will accomplish everything. What a powerful statement. It is for this reason that I realized that I had been called to embrace the goddess. Yet, how can we reclaim her in a world that has painted her as a fallen aspect of humanity? The patriarchal world has so ingrained us into our psyches the image of women as subservient. Few of us are even actually aware of how or why women are second-class citizens. From the time that Eve was blamed for eating the apple, men have used this fiction to justify the subjugation of women everywhere. And what we accept in theology becomes the unconscious blueprint that we then begin to live by, because we follow our programs and we live within our patterns of belief, which are the blueprints. In teaching generations of people that women are to blame for human suffering, women have been coverted with shame, and the world has fallen out of balance. So now, let's take a look at how this wave of suppression has really affected the history of the last 1,600 years, steeping the world in theology of half-truths and shadows that we are just now emerging today. Chapter 19, it's called In the Name of God. Whatever your heart clings to and confides in, that is really your God. Martin Luther, The Large Catechism, Book of Concord. So we will pick up on the next one with In the Name of God. That should be interesting. And we'll see. And we're going to start moving through this. And with all of this stuff that's going on right now, it looks like we all might have some time off. So that's really cool. I'll be able to read a lot more to you guys. And we're going to start, that's where I wanted to go next, was I really wanted to start working and looking at some of the teachings of the masters. So this will be really fun. I have some really old, neat books. And this is beautiful information. And it says, the time has arrived when the great wisdom held and guarded for many centuries in the Far East is now to come forth in America. At the command of those, the great ascended masters, who direct, protect, and assist us in expanding the light with mankind upon this earth. The great ascended masters, Master Saint Germain, throughout this series of books, is one of those powerful cosmic beings from the great host of ascended masters who govern this planet. He is the same great masterful presence who worked at the court of France, previous to and during the French Revolution, and whose advice, if it had been heeded, would have saved so much great suffering. His indissolubly linked with America, past, present, and future. For a very important part of his work upon this earth is purifying, protecting, and illuminating the people of America, that she may be the carrier of the cup of light to the nations of the earth in a golden age that is opening before us. America's very freedom in the beginning of her existence was due largely to his tireless efforts in protecting, encouraging those responsible for her inception. The drafting of the Declaration of Independence was also a direct result of his help and his influence, and it was his love, protection, and guidance which is what sustained Washington and Lincoln during the darkest hours of their lives. This beloved brother of humanity who works constantly for its light and freedom is even now during the present hour in America working in a world of governmental affairs and bringing about certain beneficial changes that will bless her throughout the world. Not for many years will people of the Americas and the earth understand or know how much of their good they owe to these great ascended masters, to whom it is impossible to do full justice, except in deepest love, gratitude, and service to the ideal for which he stands and unceasingly labors. This intimate knowledge of his activities in our country makes it possible a feeling of close contact and love for him that becomes a living, tangible force in the life of the reader. The radiation of this book is such that it can only be given by an ascended master, who in this case is the great beloved bearer of the light, Saint Germain. Written by Godfrey Ray King. The text of this book is all written in purple. It is written in the violet flame. It is written in purple. And this was the message that I received from the kings. So this is some beautiful stuff that I can't wait to share with you. These teachings to me were mind-blowing. And when I got a hold of them about 20 years ago, it was the biggest part of my remembering who I am. It took me into a journey of Christ and the possibilities that we now hold because Sophia brought the light back into us. And even though we're not Anthropos anymore, human can ascend to a level of the new of Christ. We came here to transform this body into a Christed being. And that means full power and potential of both aspects of self merging as one. And when you're working in those frequencies, you literally can create. And when we do it in groups, hold on, it's going to be fun. So these things really truly are possible. And when you look at some of the things that these stories talk about, they talk about some of the foundational battles that were going on between dark and light to bring forth this thing that we call America, and how it truly was supposed to be the key to free the entire world, and they're trying to take it away. So we have to hold all of this hard work and all of the labor that was done to make these changes come in 1,600 years later, to make all this stuff come in now, and we were the ones that were called to do it. So we need to start to remember what we can do, and we need to start to do it. And I think these things will help open up your imagination so you can reconnect to the divinity that's truly waiting inside of you to be awoken. And guys, when two or more come together in our names, we can move mountains. So I look forward to moving mountains with you and learning how to do it. So this is a process of remembering and learning, but the learning is just the remembering. So we're going to bring it all back together and start to hopefully create some very positive, beautiful waves of love and healing to this planet and to all of humanity, and see some profound healing. And you know, sometimes when things break down, they look like it's really a really bad thing, but you always got to remember there's always tower moments, and through those tower moments everything will crash down, so that way it can be rebuilt with a stronger, more loving, helping, healing, beneficial foundation. So the cornerstone that was rejected will no longer be rejected, and we will build this foundation with all four corners. So we're going to do it different, and that will be the second coming of Christ. And I think we might be the generation that gets to see this happen, and it happens with how we think. It's literally that simple. It's just changing the way you think about your reality and the way you see the world and what you believe about yourself, and start to activate to the more eternal part of you and start to disconnect from the more fleshy, earthly, human part of you. So you blend the two, and it transforms into the Christ. And that is simply just awareness of what you really are. So it's like, we don't need to overcomplicate this process, because it's really not difficult. It's innate in your being, and it's natural to what you are as a being. It's just a matter of remembering and waking up certain frequencies through that remembering. And we're doing it. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for what you're doing and learning and experiencing. And letting your realities flip upside down for the greatest growth of the whole, and the collective whole is going to benefit from a lot of this stuff that we see happening right now. I think it might eventually be looked at later as the greatest gift we've ever, ever, ever received in a very long time. So with that, it's going to be okay. And it really will be. It will be okay. No matter what happens, we're eternal beings. So it's going to be okay. So let's love each other through this. And let's try to see rainbows and new light and new potentials. And humanity kind of understanding how awesome we really are underneath this matrix. The truth of what we are. We would all look at it and literally fall in love. Because when you see that part of another being, is all you can feel. Is love and awe in such a profound, heartwarming way that you just want to cry and laugh at the same time. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And that's what we are inside, and that's what that spark is. That's the emotional creator. That's where we feel it. And we're going to learn how to connect that, because the feeling is the prayer. What we feel about, we bring about. The more we can learn how to get into these high vibrations of miracles, healing, love, positive vibrations, laughter, joy, music, loving on your puppies, loving on your animals, planting things, growing things, all these things, these little tiny things, smiling at strangers, being courteous, at the stores, if, try not to take more than you need so everybody has enough, and just know we'll work together and work through this. But we got to start really looking at how can we take care of each other, because we've been letting other systems take care of the whole, and right now they're doing a really bad job. So we're going to have to start to learn how to really kind of take care of each other, and that's going to be the ticket to a whole new reality, is when we learn how to love each other and take care of each other. And know, when we do that, we will have the support of the entire cosmos. And this whole entire matrix is energy. We can manifest anything, guys. We really can. But we really got to believe it. And that's going to be the shift, is can we believe it? But I do believe we can. And I think we will. And I'm here to witness it. So, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my being. You guys are the most important thing right now in my reality, because you're the ones that I came here to see change everything. So I love you. See you on the next one. Bye.